Many of the stories we've reported on the NewsHour about refugees have been focused on tragedy and struggle. But tonight, a glimpse of light. Special correspondent Malcolm Brabant reports from southern Germany, where even as anti-immigrant sentiment is rising, a young Syrian refugee has just become a city's mayor.
In a small town on the edge of the Black Forest, a social revolution is taking its first tentative steps.
Germany is a country that has given hope to many in the past, and it's also a country of hope for me.
8 years after Rian al-Shabl arrived in Germany as a 20-year-old refugee, the people of Ostelsheim have entrusted him to be their mayor.
I'm the type of person that loves and likes to be loved. I always felt this love over the past 8 years, and I'm grateful for this. I'd like to give back where possible, and with such a public office, it is possible.
The new mayor's election was a victory of German pragmatism over sentiment. He earned his spurs working for 4 years as an administrator in a neighbouring town. The election of Rian al-Shabl is being seen as a shining example of German tolerance and the power of integration. This small town has always been traditionally conservative, with a small c, and has elected candidates from the centre-right parties. But the people here abandoned the tribal politics of the mainstream parties, looked at al-Shabl as an individual and decided that they liked the qualities that he had on offer. And as a result, he's become an inspiration for the 800,000 Syrians who settled in Germany after fleeing the civil war in their homeland.
This village is exceptional.
For the past 4 years, it's been the home for Adil, a computer engineer from the devastated city of Aleppo.
This shows the quality of competence here in this country, so the one who gets the right skills will get the job.
One of the mayor's election pledges was to create more kindergarten places, which struck a chord with local families. Kai Schubert works in information technology and is alarmed that, along with other European countries, Germany appears to be leaning right.
I think that in Germany, the right-wing tendencies are very, very loud and very, very large, especially on the internet. But the rest of Germany is more restrained.
Debbie Dawn is picking up her grandson. A native New Yorker, she's lived in Germany for 41 years.
The main thing is he learned German, and he respects the German law. And that's what's important as a foreigner. That's what the Germans want. They're taking refugees. They want to help, but they want the people that come here, they want them to respect the German law and our German way of living.
Ostelsheim's new mayor took the same trail to Europe as most other Syrian refugees, sleeping on the streets in Turkey before smugglers packed them into unseaworthy rubber dinghies and pointed them towards the Greek island of Lesbos. He landed in the autumn of 2015, just before Europe sealed its borders.
It was so terrifying that 2 hours into the crossing, I began seriously asking myself what it would feel like to drown.
This is a tale of two cities. After Ostelsheim, we travelled 200 miles north to Sonneberg in the state of Thuringia in former East Germany. In June, voters gave a major victory to the anti-immigrant Alternative for Germany, or AfD, by electing Robert Sesselmann as the party's first ever head of a county administration.
The Sonnenberg district is making history. The AfD has now arrived as a people's party here on the municipal level in Thuringia and also in the Federal Republic of Germany.
The AfD hopes this landmark success will lead to the party taking control of other regional and state institutions. As this video declares, the AfD has come a long way in the past 10 years.
We will hunt them down, and we will take back our country and our people.
We are the people, the chant of East Germans before the wall came down, has been adopted as the party's slogan. But it has more sinister overtones for Thomas Handelwang, the head of the Domestic Intelligence Agency, as he reports on a rise of right-wing extremism.
We are currently working on the Alternative for Germany party as a suspicious case because we see a very strong current of people within this party who are opposed to our constitution. And we see a lot of hatred and agitation against minorities of all kinds there.
Ingo Schroers speaks on behalf of the AfD, and he believes the intelligence agency is biased against those who oppose establishment ideas. When it comes to immigration, Germany's population, its ethnic German population, is declining. You're not producing children.
Yeah.
You need to support your welfare state.
Of course.
You need to have immigrants, don't you?
Of course, yeah. But we want to choose who is immigrating like any other country in the world. You in the US have very strict regulations for who is coming into your country and who's not. And we want the same thing for us.
Germany's Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, has dismissed the significance of the AfD's success in Sonneberg.
I'm quite confident that AfD won't perform much differently at the next federal election than it did at the last.
Political analyst Timo Lochochi says that voters are unhappy at the major party's failure to address concerns over migration and warns against complacency.
And that's the reason why most voters that currently vote for the far right or intend to vote for the far right, they're not convinced of the far right. They'd rather want to put pressure on the others to come up with a plan.
The sculpture of a Jewish family heading for cattle cars and a death camp speaks to the ultimate dangers of right-wing extremism. The Central Council of Jews in Germany has described the AfD's success as a watershed that democratic forces cannot accept. Is there an assurance you can give to the Jewish community that they have nothing to fear?
Of course, because this claim that the AfD is anti-Semitic is just a media hoax.
That's not the experience of optician Margaret Sturm, who received numerous death threats after speaking out against the AfD.
We got calls from people we don't know, who don't know our business. It started with a caller threatening to send us a pizza topped with Zyklon B and saying we should enjoy it.
Students of the Holocaust will recognize the significance of Zyklon B. It was the cyanide-based poison used in Nazi gas chambers to murder millions of Jews. Despite concerns about her safety, Margaret Sturm refuses to be silenced.
I've been telling people to stand up and speak out, because if we don't mobilize civil society, things are going to get really bad.
There's an optician in this town who says that she's had death threats against her for speaking out against the AfD.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I think that's disgusting, because I do not know who does that, but there are always, everywhere you find crazy people, you find hateful people.
Once a week in Sonneberg, there are anti-government demonstrations which match the AfD's platform. Is this the path that Germany will follow, or will it emulate Ostelsheim, where Adil, the Syrian computer engineer, has great expectations?
It shows that here the limit is the sky. I hope it will not be limited to small villages. I hope it will go to the parliament, to other important positions in Germany, but this is a good indication, I think.
While millions of migrants and Germans wish Rian al-Shaibel every success, there are others willing him to fail. The burden on his young shoulders is enormous. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Malcolm Brabant in southern Germany.